although the 2025 NFL draft may have just concluded, I feel like it's never too early to look to the future and check out the incoming players from college football that are going to be declaring for the draft next year, going to be getting drafted to the NFL. And this should be my last mock draft of the season, just kind of getting a grasp on all of the players that are coming in. And, obviously this list isn't going to pan out pretty much whatsoever. It's not going to really look anything like this a year from now when the 2026 NFL draft happens. But that's what makes it very much fun and very much exciting for us to be able to do here on this video. And I'm going to look at some of these players who are not familiar names to me and just kind of seeing where I think they might go and seeing what players I think are going to fall and who's going to kind of stay the same. As we get started with the Giants, projected with the #1 overall pick for next season. And I'm going to select the safety, Caleb Downs, out of Ohio State. What I know about Caleb Downs is he is a hard-hitting, versatile safety who, although no safeties have ever gone #1 overall, he's the closest player I could see to going #1 overall. He's an absolute beast. Can play a whole bunch of roles at Ohio State. And for the New York Giants, why not go and get a safety tandem like Javon Holland and Caleb Downs? An absolute insane safety backfield. And then you just continue to improve upon the defense that you have over the past few drafts. You got Kayvon Thibodeau, you went out and signed Brian Burns, you have Abdul Carter, who you just drafted. Why not improve that, defensive back room, just adding Caleb Downs, who's an absolute beast. Obviously, things are going to change entirely, like I said, next year when the 2026 draft does actually happen. But a pick like Caleb Downs is a safe option for a team that wants to continue to improve that defense in the New York Giants. As we get down to the Cleveland Browns, and I'm not going to have them taking a quarterback. They just went for Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. They have Kenny Pickett in the room, Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, if you want to count them. At this point, I'm not going to have them take a quarterback unless, the draft does come along and they're like, all right, this guy's generational, might as well take him. For me, I'm going to have the Browns selecting Caden Proctor, tackle out of Alabama, an absolute... I have great things to say about a couple of these players. Proctor and Downs are both beasts, and I don't really see them dropping in draft value from this year to next year. It'll be fun to watch the college football 2025-26 season, see where some of these players end up falling and rising. You never know. You could have a Joe Burrow type season from a quarterback, and then again, you could have an absolutely horrible season, and then that drops you to the 7th round, like Quinn Ewers. So it'll be interesting to see, but I do think both Proctor and Downs probably stay somewhere in that first round range, but it depends how their season goes, really. So just kind of taking guesses and gambles on these players at the moment, but I'm excited to see, like I said, where they really do fall. As we get to the Tennessee Titans at pick #3, and I'm trying to think what they could really add. Ruben Bain, obviously, down here. I absolutely love Ruben Bain out of Florida. Very high upside, raw pass rusher. Haven't watched too much on him, but he's very nice. They could go for one of these edges from Clemson. Get some edging on, you know what I'm saying? And, I don't know. Arch Manning, obviously, they just drafted Cam Ward. I'm not going to have them go. I'm not even going to have them go running back, quarterback. Evian Terrell, you can see them going for a corner. But I like their corner room. L'Jarius Sneed, Raj McCreary. I'm going to actually have them taking an edge rusher. And they just grabbed Oluwafemi Oladejo in the draft, but at the same time, getting one of these guys right here. I'm going to give them TJ Parker. I don't know too much about these pass rushers, but they look like the top of the class. Look very nice. And for a team like Tennessee, getting that pass rush could be very important for developing, Cam Ward and the defense as well. And just continuing to work towards becoming a contending team at the end of the day. So, going to give them TJ Parker. For the New York Jets, I'm going to trust in the fact that Justin Fields has a good season. And if not, you can turn to a backup perhaps. Jordan Travis did just retire, though. So, I don't know. Quarterback next year could definitely be their need. It's going to depend how Fields' season goes, but I'm going to trust in him. And in this, there's a couple of options for the New York Jets. I don't really know. Is edge rusher really? I don't think running back is. They could look to continue to build up that offensive line. There's no more Mekhi Becton on the team. You know, Elijah Vera Tucker has injury concerns, but he's been pretty decent recently. And then you go and draft, what the hell's his name? Armand Membu. You just go and draft Armand Membu to improve the line. Do you want to continue to improve that offensive line, or go out and get another receiver to pair alongside Garrett Wilson? Which one of these receivers do I really see balling out? It is not a good receiver class at all. Is this Sage Surratt's brother? No, different spelling. Oh, like, oh my god. This is an absolute... Zachariah Branch I really do like a lot. Nick Harbor's nice. But oh my god, I do not even know where these guys go. The rankings are definitely going to have to get tweaked on here. But if they're going wide receiver, I'm going to pick Jordan Tyson right here. You could look to improve that offensive line. I don't think any of these guys down here are worth it at that pick, so might as well pick a high upside guy in Jordan Tyson. If I was going to pick another wide receiver here that I was very high on, I would maybe go with Zachariah Branch down here, Nick Harbor. Carnell Tate's a very nice option as well. A couple of these top guys I actually don't even know. So, and of course, you have to give New Orleans their successor to Archie Manning, Arch Manning. Absolutely amazing. You know, now you can see the reason why they're tanking, and they picked, what's his name? Oh my god. That absolutely, what was the reach player? I can't even remember his name at this point. He's just so irrelevant to me. But they picked him in the second round of the draft. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now, but he's not their quarterback in the future, I don't believe. Obviously Derek Carr isn't. Arch Manning, there you go. Generations down. Archie Manning, his grandfather, I believe, played for the New Orleans Saints back in the 60s, 70s era, and then you get the successor to him, and you get a franchise quarterback. I feel like that's an absolute win for the New Orleans Saints as we get to the Panthers at 6. The Panthers, obviously, they're not going to take a quarterback here. Could see them taking a corner or an edge rusher, although they did just get Nick Scorton. I would trust in him. For this, I'm going to look to continue to improve that defense for them. I'm going to give them Avion Terrell. I do like Jermod McCoy here, but I like Terrell a little bit better. And then you get a nice cornerback in that room that doesn't really have anybody outside of J.C. Horn. You can pair him up with J.C. Horn. I like that. I like also going for possibly a tackle option down here if you want to improve that offensive line. I think their offensive line's getting steadily better. Who knows where it's at next year. And then, surprise pick here at 7, Geno Smith on the Raiders. I don't care. I'm picking Cade Klubnik to be the successor to Geno, to be the franchise quarterback of the future for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I really like the fit there as well. So he can come in, either learn from Geno or take that starting role depending on how good he does in the 2025 season. Getting to the Colts, they have JT Tuimoloau, Kwity Paye, I believe contract extensions are coming up for him. I don't know if you extend him. Who did the Colts go here? Ruben Bain, always an option, very much like him. At this point, I don't know. You have Riley Leonard, Daniel Jones. Who knows if Anthony Richardson works out for them? But I'm gonna trust in the fact that some quarterback does go to that room. So I don't want to throw all the quarterbacks off the board this early. So I don't even know. Where is Lenore Sellers on this list? He is ranked down low. Lenore Sellers he's a beast. But that's just literally like them getting another Richardson at that point, so I would not do that. I'm going to give them Peter Woods at this point. Tackle, like I said before, always an option. A lot of Clemson players in this class. Looks like Clemson has some absolute beasts. But Kwity Paye, this is basically his replacement. JT Tuimoloau, if I could speak. JT Tuimoloau, yes. And Peter Woods would be a very nice edge duo. I would love to see them together. And the edge room in Indianapolis has been somewhat lacking over the past few seasons. You know, they get sacks occasionally, especially players like Zaire Franklin. Yeah, Zaire Franklin. He is an absolute beast at getting tackles, and more over tackles than sacks, but their defense has been above average. Go out and get Peter Woods. You get a nice edge rusher for that team as well. And then the Dallas Cowboys, do they select a quarterback here? That's really a big question. I think they'll just stick to Dak Prescott. But what they really need is a nice running back. A couple of nice ones in this class. I really love Nicholas Singleton. I'll probably give him a first-round grade. But I'm going to go Jeremiah Love here to the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, you could have gotten Omarion Hampton. Instead, you go for a player like Tyler Booker. He sucks. I don't care whoever says Tyler Booker is a great player. Obviously, he's a nice guard. It was just a reach pick at that point. And you could have had a player like Omarion Hampton. You could have traded down, gotten Quinshon Judkins. Your running back room has Javonte Williams and who else? Jeremiah Love is the new running back in Dallas. There you go. And then, once again, I'm not going to give the Browns a quarterback, but they have these 2 picks in the draft too early. God, they could really build up their team. At this point, LT Overton being there is so nice. But I think I might go Jermod McCoy. Because you don't know. No. Well, no, they already went tackle. Keldrick Falk. Yeah, I'm going to go Jermod McCoy. Denzel Ward you obviously have there, but you never know. They may end up needing a replacement at that point. I'm going to go Jermod McCoy, cornerback from Tennessee there. Might as well add some juice to that room. They have some decent players in there. Like Martin Emerson's pretty nice. But Denzel Burke is actually getting up there in age at this point, so it'd be good to draft somebody. Seahawks, I'm definitely thinking about giving them a tackle. Quarterback, I think they're set with Sam Darnold and Jalen Milroe. I wouldn't really think about that. And I would think about giving them an edge rusher as well. But I'm going to go Francis Mauigoa. Yeah. Tackle. Just add to their offensive line, which they don't usually invest in with high picks. Charles Cross, we'll have to see how he does. And then they got, what's his name in the last draft? You know, they got, why was I thinking Stone Smart? Oh my god, not Stone Smart. He's a tight end. They went and got Gray Zabel in the draft. Continued to invest in that offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks, and you will see some substantial growth, especially for players like Kenny Walker and Zach Charbonnet. And just give the quarterback some more time to throw the ball as well. There you go. To the New England Patriots, I think Drake May is most definitely their guy. I'm going to give them Spencer Fano. Continuing to invest in that offensive line. You go and get Will Campbell last year, get Spencer Fano this year. Now you have 2 young tackles to put out in front of Drake May. I definitely like that a lot. You could go with an edge rusher here if you want. I'm going to see that Ruben Bain falls a little bit just because he's either going very high in the draft or he's going to fall a decent bit. So as we get down here and to the Rams, I'm actually going to give them Lenoris Sellers, I believe. Yep, I'm going to give him. I believe he's about the 3rd best quarterback in this class, maybe the 2nd best. Arch Manning's definitely peaked out as the 1st. A lot of quarterbacks are going to go in this draft, I'll tell you that. Matthew Stafford's only getting older each year. Get Lenoris Sellers. Like I said with Jackson Dart, you know, if the Rams drafted Jackson Dart, you get him, sit him behind Matthew Stafford, and you have an absolute guy that can run the ball in addition to throwing the ball. Lenoris Sellers is a really nice player from South Carolina, a player that I'm decently high on. And then the Will Howard pick here, I don't know if that entirely works out. I'm going to give them a Garrett Nussmeier, as their quarterback room is not the best. You know, you invested a 6th-round pick into Will Howard, not that much investment. Garrett Nussmeier has the opportunity to be one of the best quarterbacks in this class. Him, Sellers, Arch, and Cade Klubnik are kind of gonna go at it. Drew Aller, you could also throw in that race too. I could see 6 quarterbacks going in this first round. There's a lot of great options. Who knows how Carson Beck does, Nico Iamaleava, and Sam Leavitt as well. Sam Leavitt's very nice. So, gonna give them Garrett Nussmeier, and that's their possible franchise quarterback in the future. A player like Sellers is more gonna sit. Nussmeier is probably gonna start right away if he does end up going there. Same for Arch Manning, and same for Cade, unless, you know, Geno is still playing at a high level. Getting to the Dolphins, could once again give them Ruben Bain. Like I said, gonna let him fall a little bit. And interesting spot. I really do like. I know Miami decently likes Texas players. Anthony Hill, add to that linebacker room. I think they still have Jerome Parker. Well, I was thinking of Devontae Parker and Jerome somebody. But no, I I don't even know. He's on Seattle, I believe. So getting Anthony Hill Jr., there you go. You add a linebacker to that room, make it a slightly better than what it is already. Getting to the Chicago Bears as you continue to want to build around Caleb Williams. And they already got him a decent amount of receivers in that room. Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. Don't think you need to touch that room whatsoever. You go and you get him a nice tight end as well. None of the tight ends looking too good in this class. At this point, I actually really do like Nicholas Singleton to the Chicago Bears. He is only going to go up in his rank, I believe. I like him. Jonah Coleman. K-Tron, we'll see where he goes. Kind of feeling a little Miles Sanders, Saquon Barkley duo right there with Singleton and K-Tron Allen. Could definitely see that. Singleton's going to go a little bit further than Saquon. He's not a number 1 overall pick worthy type guy, I feel like. So, but to the Chicago Bears, DeAndre Swift, who knows how good he does next season. There you go. You solidify your running back of the future, and he is the second one to go in this draft. Getting to the Cardinals, who I think are going to have a very nice season. You know, you got Kyler Murray out there slinging the rock. Then you go and invest heavily in that defense in the offseason. Get Josh Sweat from my Philadelphia Eagles. You go in the draft, get Will Johnson, Denzel Burke. You know, what's his name? God, I keep forgetting these players' names. The guy from Oregon as well. And just overall have such a great defensive draft. So why not in this draft give yourself, you know, somebody on the other side of the ball, maybe invest in that offensive line a little bit. I'm thinking. And then there's receivers too. I think their room is decent. Well, they have Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. You could go and get a 2 to pair up with Marvin Harrison Jr. And I like Denzel Boston actually there as a 2. I was going to invest in offensive line for them, but the tackles aren't really worth it here. They don't exactly need a center in Jake Slaughter, and I don't really know where he's going to go. He's kind of an up or down guy. Get Denzel Boston, you pair him up with Marvin Harrison, very nice wide receiver duo, and your defense is already something really nice as well. So we get to the Vikings. The Vikings at this point could be thinking a quarterback depending on how McCarthy does. You know, it'll be going into his 3rd season in the NFL. Like I said before, Ruben Bain is always an option. I see him going to a specific team. And this one, I'm going to give them their kind of Danielle Hunter replacement, I believe, and LT Overton. It's much better fit. They like Alabama players a lot better. And I really like Overton. I feel like he could go very high in the draft. Ruben Bain obviously has that potential as well. But Overton just fits a little bit better on Minnesota, and they get their spiritual successor to Danielle Hunter, which I like a lot as well. And then the Broncos, I definitely could see them having a good season. Quarterback won't be touched. Bo Nix is a star in the making, it seems like. Cornerback room is absolutely awesome with Pat Surtain, Jahdae Barron. Another spot where Ruben Bain could go. He could go to a lot of these teams. And this one, they definitely need a receiver. I'm going to give them Eric Singleton Jr. I don't really know how he's going to do. He plays at Georgia Tech. I'm not too high on him personally, but go and just add another wide receiver to that room. Cortland Sutton's only getting older, and there you go. You have another guy for Bo Nix to throw the ball to. And this pick is very easy for me. Ruben Bain Jr. to the Houston Texans, as shown in the thumbnail. Ruben Bain is an absolute amazing prospect, but like I said, he could go very early up here, or he could fall. I kind of see him falling maybe down to the 20s, like a player like Greg Rousseau, who also played at Miami. So there you go. The Houston Texans get him, pair him on a rotating defensive end, or defensive line with Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, who is decently old at this point in 2026. So there you go. Ruben Bain is kind of the successor to Danielle Hunter, as LT Overton is kind of successor to him as well. But then you could just kind of have a rotating edge line. Could throw Will Anderson out there in linebacker coverage if you need to. But I think that would just kind of make Houston's defense a bit more ferocious in a way, you know, a bit more of a be scared to play Houston because they have such a great defensive line type of team. And there we go. And really depends how Jordan Love does. He has taken this team to the playoffs before, though. So I won't be touching quarterback. Carnell Tate is an option. Back-to-back first-round wide receivers, and honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really know who would be the one on the team. Could be Jaden Reed. Could be Romeo Doubs, I guess. I don't know. I see him more as a 3. could be a plethora of players on the Packers, but why not throw another receiver in there? Possibly pair up Carnell Tate and Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed, and I feel like that is a decent trio right there, and one of them has to break out as the one after losing Devontae Adams a couple of seasons ago. Need that one wide receiver to absolutely break out and have that connection. And Carnell Tate could possibly be the one for Jordan Love. Getting to the Bucks. Not going to touch quarterback for them. Now, I really like Jake Slaughter here. Offensive line has been up and down for the Buccaneers over the past few seasons. They like to invest decently into it. Right here, I'm going to give Jake Slaughter. I think he fits very nicely there, and he's going to stop falling at this point. And then to the Chargers. Keldrick Falk here. Once again, not going to touch quarterback. And could definitely go for a linebacker at this point. They invest in Omarion Hampton, not going to touch HB. So Keldrick Falk's just sitting here. I'm going to take him. And he's possibly the successor to Khalil Mack once he's gone. Joey Bosa obviously off the team. Want to continue to invest in that defensive line. Get Keldrick Falk on the team. As we get to the Commanders, I'm going to give them Deontay Lawson, who's a very nice linebacker from Alabama. He could go anywhere from the first round to the 7th round. We really have to see how the season goes, but I like Deontay Lawson a lot, and I think he would fit decently on Washington. And then we get to the Cincinnati Bengals, who just signed both their receivers to deals. Not going to give them a wide receiver. Could give them a tight end. Eli Stowers has a lot of potential. And in this mock draft, I'm going to say, screw it. Eli Stowers to the Cincinnati Bengals. Get that franchise tight end in the future because, he's another player that could go decently early, first round potential, or he could go very late. He could literally be a UDFA by the time the draft comes around. But I like Eli Stowers a lot, so I'm going to give him a first round, draftable spot in here. And he goes to the Bengals, and obviously they have Eric All. I don't think he's all that, you know what I'm saying? Eric all that. See, really funny. But yeah, and who else? Mike Gesicki. They really need a tight end, and it's been for years. I had them going after Brock Bowers previously, Michael Mayer. Go and get Eli Stowers. Go and get yourself a tight end for Joe Burrow to continue to throw that ball to. And then to the Rams. And, 2 first-round picks for the Rams. That is absolutely unheard of. And at this point, double dip at quarterback now. Tyreek Sapp being here is nice. Deny Dennis Sutton. It's very nice. I think I'll give them Dylan Dynaman. Just get a nice safety on that back end. I can't really think of the safeties the Rams have right now. And continue to improve that defense. Why not? And then to the Lions. Jared Goff is getting older, so you could find a possible successor to him. And maybe Sam Leavitt or Drew Aller are that quarterback. Or maybe a Carson Beck would fit nice. You get another Georgia guy. To Detroit, Matthew Stafford. Question mark. Now he's nothing on his level, but who knows. And then what else? Who knows if Jameson Williams is on the team from now. I really do like Nick Harbor a lot. He's an absolute beast as well. If you see some pictures of Nick Harbor, he is a monster. But I'm not going to give the Lions a receiver. I feel like they have more glaring needs. Just going to give them Malik Muhammad. There you go, get some corner depth. Obviously, they have a couple of different guys right now. But Malik Muhammad's a nice option. Texas is a good school. They have a couple of players getting drafted in here. So I'm just going to go BPA for the Lions at that point. And then they have Brock Purdy. Who knows? Could draft a successor to him. Sam Leavitt is a little bit similar to Purdy. At this point, though, could just continue to build up that defense. After you lost Drake Greenlaw, get Torian York, add to that linebacker room because you severely need it. You draft Michael Williams, you draft some defensive players this year, and improve upon that glaring defensive hole that was lost in free agency. Continue to invest in that next year, and I think the Niners would be happy with that. And Danny Dennis Sutton, very high on him. I feel like he could go very high. like him a lot, and a lot of the couple of Penn State players in this. And this, I'm leaving, I think Sam Leavitt and Drew Aller fall out of the first round, at least in this. I'm going to have, Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers, Manning, and Klubnik getting drafted. But I'm going to let these two just kind of fall out. Really have to see where the season goes. Drew Aller could be like a Quinn Ewers type fall off. Sam Leavitt, we really have to tell. I like him a little bit more than Aller, although I'm a Penn State fan. Carson Beck, same thing. Got to see how good his season is. Danny Dennis-Sutton going to the Kansas City Chiefs. There you go. A nice rotational edge piece to a defense that is going to probably continue to fall apart as some of their guys are getting older and leaving and such after that Super Bowl loss to the Eagles. So there you go. And my Eagles go with no way, no quarterback for sure. Jalen Hurts is that guy. At this point, you could definitely be thinking about a wide receiver for them. And maybe even a running back, depending on... I feel like Saquon is still going to be good. Parker Brailsford is a nice option down here. There's a couple. Antonio Williams is also a really nice option. He could be a top receiver in the class. Chandler Rivers, the corner. Going to go with Tyreek Sapp. They didn't entirely invest too much into defensive line. And you did just lose Josh Sweat this season, and Brandon Graham is retiring. I know you have Nolan Smith on the one end, and then Bryce Huff. What's he really going to do? So Tyreek Sapp is a monster, and I believe he's related to Warren Sapp. So there you go. Absolutely freak genetics, and I would really love it if the Eagles were able to get a player like him. So there you go. Tyreek Sapp to the Eagles. Once again, no idea where most of these players are going to go next year, so obviously this isn't going to be correct, but it's just kind of where I see them fitting for the most part. And then the Ravens, they love Penn State players. Could see them going with a Penn State guy here. Could see them going a receiver, honestly. Their receiver room really isn't anything special. I'm going to give Kevin Concepcion. Oh, God. I don't feel like he goes first round, though. Actually, I'm going to give them Antonio Williams. It's a very nice option, late round. Like I said, he has very high potential. Just going to have to see how the season goes. And there you go. Pair him up with Zay Flowers. I feel like that's a nice duo as well. Finally, the Buffalo Bills, who are projected Super Bowl winners in this. Them versus the Ravens. I like that, actually. And to them, they go out and get Maxwell Hairston. I think that corner room still leaves something to be desired. And then you have, Khalil Shakir and who else, really? My final surprise pick, I think, might be Nick Harper. Because A.J. Harris, a couple of these Penn State guys is, questionable. Elijah Shrad, I'm not really that high on. You could go with Jonah Coleman because you're like, oh, where does James Cook go? I like Jonah Coleman. I just don't like him that much. Jaden Robert, Parker Brailsford. You know what? They could invest in the offensive line. I like both these guys. I like Brailsford a little bit better. And that's going to be it from me. There we go. That is my full results for the 2026 NFL mock. And, okay. Yeah, like I said before, a couple of players that I'm very high on, a couple of players that I'm not really sure entirely where they're going to fall in the draft, but it'll be fun to watch them over the next year or so and see where they go, as high as they go, or if they fall. Obviously, I feel like especially a player like Anthony Hill could fall. Quarterbacks are going to go up and down as the season goes on, but I like these picks, and who knows, a year from now you could see some teams matching up with them. If not in the first round, then maybe in the second or third rounds, fourth round, whatever. Jordan Tyson, that's a pick where I'm like, I don't really know if he goes that high. ASU receiver, but obviously I'm wishing luck to all these players. I'm very excited, and if the class stays somewhat like this, I feel like it would be a very interesting draft class, and it's going to be very different compared to this year. So there we go, and that's all from me until mock drafts start up again, and that won't be for a while. So I'll see you guys all in the next video where we're doing whatever, not a mock draft, most definitely. And I'll see you all then. Have a good one.